The sky was clear and blue above the city skyline as Henry Wallace pulled into the downtown parking structure, the rumble of his old pickup truck echoing against concrete walls. At 66 years old, Henry had lived a life built from the earth up. He was a farmer, born and raised in the heart of rural Missouri, and the deep lines on his sun-weathered face told stories of long summers, hard winters, and harvests both plentiful and sparse. That morning, Henry had dressed in his cleanest flannel shirt and the only pair of khaki slacks he owned that didn't have grass stains. His brown leather boots, worn smooth at the toes, thudded against the polished tile as he entered the marble-clad lobby of Dominion Federal Bank. He carried a weathered briefcase, an anniversary gift from his wife, Marlene, 3 decades ago. Inside were carefully organized documents, tax returns, crop yield reports, and loan application papers meticulously filled out by hand. Henry had an appointment at 10 a.m. with Emily Carter, the branch manager. This wasn't just a formality, it was his shot at securing a loan that could determine the future of the farm. His son had recently returned from the military, eager to take part in the family business, and Henry had grand plans for expansion, new equipment, irrigation systems, and possibly even a small greenhouse. But none of that could happen without the bank's support. The lobby was the picture of quiet opulence. Polished walnut floors gleamed under recessed lighting, and the aroma of freshly brewed artisan coffee wafted in the air. A glass wall separated the lobby from the executive offices, and a receptionist sat behind a granite counter, scrolling casually through her computer screen. She wore a crisp white blouse and her hair, chestnut and straight, was tucked neatly behind her ears. Henry approached with a polite nod. "Good morning, ma'am. I have an appointment with Miss Carter. Name's Henry Wallace." The receptionist glanced at the screen, her expression unreadable. "Let's see. Yes, 10 o'clock. Please have a seat. She'll be with you shortly." "Thank you kindly," Henry replied, and made his way to a leather armchair near the window. The city moved outside those tall windows, people walking briskly, horns honking, taxis weaving through traffic. But inside the bank, everything was still. Henry leaned back, his briefcase resting against his boot. He glanced at the grandfather clock on the wall. It was 9:58 a.m. He had arrived with time to spare. Minutes passed. At first, he thought nothing of it. Appointments ran overtime all the time. But when the clock struck 10:20 a.m., and then 10:45 a.m., Henry began to grow uneasy. He watched as a young man in a tailored navy blue suit strolled into the lobby. The man barely had time to introduce himself before a banker came out from the back, shook his hand, and led him into one of the executive offices. Then came a woman with a designer handbag and gold bracelets that jingled lightly with every step. She was greeted with warm smiles and ushered straight through the frosted doors. Henry blinked. He looked around again. The receptionist hadn't so much as glanced his way since he checked in. She was now laughing quietly with a coworker, one hand resting on the keyboard and the other holding her coffee. Henry shifted in his seat. The flannel shirt clung uncomfortably to his back now. He checked his watch. It was 11:02 a.m. Still, he waited. He watched 5 more clients come and go. Some were clearly regulars, greeted by name. Others were strangers. Yet all were treated with a kind of attentiveness Henry hadn't received. At 11:25 a.m., Henry stood and returned to the front desk. "Excuse me," he said, gently clearing his throat. "I've been waiting quite a while now. Miss Carter, she's still in a meeting?" The receptionist looked up, then back down at her screen. "She's finishing with another client," she said, her tone flat. "She'll be with you shortly." Henry pursed his lips. "It's been nearly an hour and a half. I had an appointment at 10. She knows you're here." There was no apology, no urgency, just a return to typing. Henry returned to his chair, the weight in his chest heavier now. This wasn't just a scheduling mix-up. He had seen the pattern. The people in sharp suits and polished shoes were ushered in quickly. He The man in a plaid shirt with soil still under his nails was invisible. It wasn't just about class. It was something deeper, an assumption that he didn't belong. At 12:05 p.m. Another client entered. A woman in heels and a silk blouse. She breezed through check-in and was walking toward the executive offices in under 2 minutes. Henry stood again. This time, he didn't ask for permission. He walked past the receptionist with measured steps. "Sir." "Excuse me, sire." The receptionist called. Startled. But Henry didn't stop. He pushed open the glass door, revealing a corridor lined with frosted office doors. Voices murmured behind them. He scanned the hallway until he found the office labeled Emily Carter, branch manager. Inside, Emily sat alone at her desk, scrolling through her monitor. She looked up in surprise as Henry stepped inside. "Mr. Wallace," she said, eyes wide. "You were supposed to wait in the lobby." Henry nodded slowly. "Yes, ma'am, I was. For 2 hours." Emily's face tightened. If there must have been a miscommunication. "No, ma'am. I believe I was just overlooked." Repeatedly, Emily blinked. She seemed flustered now. "Please, sit down." Henry remained standing. "I've watched folks walk in after me without appointments and get seen before me. What am I supposed to make of that?" Emily opened her mouth to reply, but another voice cut through the room. "Henry Wallace? Is that really you?" A tall man with graying temples and a confident stride had entered the office. He wore a navy suit and a gleaming tie clip. His face lit up with recognition. "Raymond Whitaker," the man said, extending a hand. "CEO of Dominion Federal." Henry shook the man's hand, still reeling. "Raymond, it's been years." Raymond clapped him on the back. "I didn't know you were coming in today. What's going on?" "I had an appointment," Henry said. "Apparently. It didn't mean much." Raymond's smile faltered. He turned sharply toward Emily. "How long has Mr. Wallace been waiting?" Emily's mouth opened, then closed. 2 hours. "Sir." Raymond's jaw clenched. 2 hours? Henry stepped forward, voice calm. "It's not just the wait, Raymond. It's how I was treated. Like I didn't matter. Like I didn't belong." Raymond turned to face him fully, now solemn. "Henry, I'm so sorry. That's unacceptable." Henry nodded. "I'm not the only one. There are folks like me, hardworking, honest, who get treated like background noise in places like this. That has to change." Raymond's face softened. "You're absolutely right. And I'll make sure it does." What followed was a blur. Raymond pulled Emily aside for a hushed conversation. Within minutes, Henry was seated in the executive lounge, coffee in hand, papers being reviewed by a senior officer personally assigned by the CEO. The mood had shifted. He was no longer invisible. But that wasn't the victory. The victory came in the message that followed. As Henry walked out of the bank into the warm sunlight, his phone buzzed with a new email. Loan approved. But more than the notice, the receptionist looked up this time. Her expression different. Not pity. Not irritation. Recognition. Henry smiled politely and walked out, head high. This wasn't just a good day for the farm. It was a small but powerful step in something bigger, the fight to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. And he knew, deep down, it wouldn't be his last stand.